Hello and welcome to another video. Got a delivery from Amazon today. It's just some cleaning solutions. We've got this, which I'll be using in a future video to try and repair some hardened pinch rollers. And this is the methylated spirits that I've had to order to repair my Sony La Scala S2. Apparently you're not supposed to use IPA, isopropyl alcohol, you're supposed to use methylated spirits. So let's get that unit out on the desk and we'll start cleaning it. So this deck, good as it is, has been quite troublesome. I spent 4 hours fixing this a couple of weeks ago. So after I changed the belts, I was playing cassette and the sound quality was still terrible. So I took the whole unit apart again to check to see whether the belts had been were rubbing, because it was part in the video where it looked like the belts were rubbing against something. And indeed they were rubbing, but they might be designed to rub against that little felt pad. So I took it all apart again and had a look and see whether I'd made a mistake on the belts. And I played it while it was upside down, all in parts, and tried to figure out what it was that was making the sound quality, making the wow and flutter so bad. So it would sound as if the tape was speeding up and slowing down, but with a very particular rhythm. And I'll see if I can demonstrate that now. So here we've got a tape that has had 3000 kilohertz, oh sorry, a 3 kilohertz test tone put onto it. And this might be quite an unpleasant sound, so let me just turn it down. Right, so this is going to be an unpleasant sound, a whistling sound. But have a listen to it. So what's happening is it plays a constant tape tone through the tape, and you can use some sort of device to measure the frequency of that, and it should be 3000 hertz, 3 kilohertz. Now if it's lower than that, then you need to adjust the speed up, and if it's higher than that, you adjust the speed down. But what we're getting is a fluttering. If you listen again, but that fluttering is a constant, like it and what I did was I checked the belts on the other side. They all look to be okay, but I'm going to check the felt pad that they rub against while I've got the unit to pieces. But what I think is the problem is I think the pinch rollers are dirty, so I might not have needed to change the belts at all. Okay, so you can probably see this better than I can. I'm just going to zoom in a bit more. So that pinch roller there looks like it's got some dirt on it. Now it actually shows up much better on the video than it does to the naked eye. So I looked up the manual and it says that you're supposed to clean this with IPA. So that's what I'm going to do, but I think I'm going to be able to zoom out on the camera and you'll still be able to see, if I maybe make it twice, a zoom, 2 times zoom, the quality will be okay, but you'll be able to see it better. So I bought myself this methylated spirits, which you now can't see, and I'm going to need something to decant a little bit into it so I can put the lid back on. Okay, there's going to be quite a bit more noise because I've opened a window, because you're not supposed to breathe this stuff in. But essentially, in other parts of the world, methylated spirit is called denatured alcohol. And it is alcohol, but what they do is they add poisons and colouring and other stuff in it to make it taste and smell horrible and actually poison you if you drink it. And it's used as a fuel for cooking and heating stoves as well, apparently. Now the problem is you can see this and I can't. because I've set it up with a light shooting as well as the phone. Oh my god, look at the state of that. Okay. So I don't know whether you can see it, but I'm actually cleaning the one of the pinch rollers and the capstan. And there's the pinch roller I'm cleaning as well. So I'm cleaning it and moving it around, but it's quite hard to do. I wonder if I can get two hands in there. It smells a bit like nail varnish remover. But I definitely don't want to do it with the window closed. So I've got the window open, I've got a through draft coming through. I'm going to zoom in on here, see if I can see it a bit better. Still looks a bit grubby, doesn't it? So what I was thinking is that sort of the wow and flutter I was getting, where it was a constant change in speed, might have been something on the pinch roller. But I think this pinch roller, let me think about this. So this is, so the tape goes in that way. Yes, and that's the pinch roller for side A. And I had noticed at one point on side B it chewed a tape up. But on side A it was alright. So I wonder whether side B pinch roller is even worse. So I'm going to reposition the camera and then we'll do the other pinch roller because it's an auto reverse deck. Okay, I've had to reposition everything, but look at the state of that cotton bud now, how dirty that was. So I don't know whether it's supposed to look like that, but I'm hoping these haven't got so bad that I need to replace the pinch rollers, because I've spent a lot of money and a lot of time on this deck just for an auto calibration feature. And I'm beginning to wish I'd have sent it away to a proper servicing company that knows what they're doing. So let's see if we can get this other pinch roller cleaned. I'm going to have to look through the camera now, through the phone's screen, because of the way I've got everything set up, I can't actually see it in real life. So we're getting a good focus on there. Let's see if I can spin it around. So there's little bits of dirt on it, and there's that bit there. So hopefully, once I've given this a good clean up, it will sound a lot better. More of it. Actually, let's use the other end. It looks like it's taking the surface of the rubber away, but I don't know whether it's supposed to do that or not. As you may or may not know, I really don't know what I'm talking about most of the time. I'm learning this as I go. I learn, you know, watch a few YouTube videos, and if something I'm stuck on and I can't find anything on YouTube about it, quite often I'll go for a think about it. I might read up on a couple of forums or something like that, but quite rarely will I do that. So I like to try and figure it out from a video source or just from my own brain power. Now you are supposed to clean the head with this stuff as well. The actual play head there, which I'll do in a minute. But let me see if I can see around this. I'm going to try something else which I do not recommend. I've got here some tape. So it's the generic name, the brand name for it here is sellotape, but the generic name or the name everyone uses in America appears to be Scotch tape. You can get it from Scotch, the company. But what I want to try and do is just take away that part off that roller which has got that on it, but I can't see, looking around the camera I can't see it. So all I'm going to do is try and push this piece of tape onto the roller and take that contamination off the roller. But it's really hard to get into, so what I might have to do is not do it during the video shoot. In fact, that's what I'm going to do, because I need to try and get this done and move on. So I'll let you know how it gets on, how I get on. Okay, I'm zoomed in so badly that the focus is terrible now, but what I've done is I've stuck some Scotch tape, sticky tape, backwards so the sticky bit's on the outside of the cotton bud. I'm just going to try and get in there and roll it around that roller. There you go, so we're in contact with the roller now. Ooh, this might be a new method for doing this. Oh no, it's spinning round. So it's stuck to the roller and it's spinning round inside the cotton bud. But let's see if I can spin it the other way. And what this will do is take off any loose contaminants off of the roller. I've never seen anyone do this, so I'm making it up as I go along, okay? So I don't know whether you can see that. So it's that, I don't know what to call it, that opaque bit is what was in contact with the roller. So I'm just wondering whether that's taken some more contaminants off the roller. So let me try and zoom in again and we'll see if we can see how much difference that has made. I should have shot this in 4K, but if I'd have done that I'd have run out of space on my phone. No, it's still pretty grotty there, isn't it? On that particular part. I'm wondering whether that is what's causing the problem. So I'm going to zoom out again. Just this is 5 times, so I'm going to zoom into 2 times. So hopefully if you're watching this on a big screen you'll have a much better view than I have, because when I watch my videos back on my 1080p computer monitor I see a lot more in those videos than I do with the naked eye, because the camera's quite close to the thing I'm shooting, so it's getting quite good quality, but I can only see it as I look around the camera or on the screen of the camera. So anyway, I think I've done as best I can on this. I'm going to go around once more just to make sure there's no contamination left from that tape. If you've got any ideas on how to do this better or different, please let me know in the comments. Just hoping I won't have to replace the pinch rollers on this. Now don't forget, most of the pinch roller isn't actually in contact with this metal capstan. So the capstan spins and pushes against the pinch roller with the tape in between it. So the tape is against the pinch roller and the capstan is pushing against both of them. Now you can see there's a tiny little white line part way down the capstan now, near the top. So the top part of the capstan is above this pinch roller, but you can see on the pinch roller there's a little line at the top and a little line at the bottom, and the tape runs between those. So the tape is pushed against the pinch, so the capstan spins and the tape is pushed against the capstan, and the roller holds the tape against the capstan and pulls it through at the required speed. That's how it's supposed to work. But I think part of the capstan is, or part of the pinch roller is above the cassette, above the tape should I say, and part of it is below the tape. So that sort of means it's not slipping on the tape. So I'm just going backwards and forwards on the playhead here. Okay, so I still don't like the look of that capstan, but maybe that's enough to get a fairly decent quality of sound out of this thing, because it should. The whole reason I bought it is so I can record in good quality. Okay, so now it's time to flip this over. I'm going to take it to pieces again. I'm going to close the door. I'm going to take it to pieces and have a look at the belts again. And hopefully after taking it to pieces so many times, I'll be able to demonstrate how to take this apart without too many troubles. Right, so I'm leaving the window open because it's still quite warm. So here is my method for getting one of these apart and taking the actual tape mech out. First of all, you're going to use this here to just open up the cassette door, because there's a couple of screws on here we'll need to get to. Then you're going to lay the unit down this way. Then you're going to get your fancy schmancy iFixit screwdriver. There's a affiliate link in the description for this. And you're going to go down and undo these two screws here. There's a magnetised head, a magnetised bit, so that goes in there. And then you can put them in the tray for your screwdriver set. Okay, now this front panel will come off quite easily. And this bit also needs to come off, and there's a couple of little clips in here which are just to push. They're sort of like a triangle shape. So if I can get those unclipped, then that will come off as well. Just need to bend them out of the way, which I'm a bit worried about. There we go. So that bit is now off. So that bit will fit and will slide in there. So I'll just push that in there for the time being. And then you're going to get a slightly stouter screwdriver bit and undo these three screws which hold the fascia on part. There's other screws that hold it on, but you're just going to undo these because you just need to make it a little bit looser. You don't need to take it off, you just need it a little bit looser. I'm just going to get my screws organised. Okay, there's two more screws. Let's just rearrange the camera a little bit. Okay, can you see that? I think you can. Okay, so that plastic claw there and this one under here which you can't see are a part of what holds the cassette mechanism in. So these two screws hold these in place permanently. So I'm going to undo these two screws. I'm going to use that slightly stouter screwdriver because they've been undone several times, so they're looser for me, but if you're ever doing this they'll be quite tight. And these screws are a different size to the screws we just took out of the front panel. Different size and different shape. Okay, so that's all the screws on the bottom of the unit. Let me just readjust the camera. Okay, so these are the screws we took off here, and here are the bottom of the screws and the location posts for the screws which are underneath the unit. Now if you don't take off these screws and slightly pull this forwards, those plastic location lugs won't locate in these holes when you try and put it back together. So I'm going to flip the unit back over now. Okay, so that's the front of the unit. I'm going to spin it around this way now. So we're looking at it from the other side. Let me move the camera a little bit, and if I zoom in, these are the two screws there and there that are screwing with the location lugs are under here, and that will allow us to get the whole of the unit will then slide this way, and then we'll be able to flip it over. So let's undo those first. It's not very good. I've just had this unit on and my screwdriver slipped and went over to the transformer. It's unplugged at the moment, but I always worry about transformers holding a residual current. This here is an earthing wire, which we must remember to put back afterwards. Right, so that's all my screws nicely organised in my tray. And now what I'm going to do is flip the unit back around this way, because it's easier to get that open for me, because I'm right-handed. It's easier to have that around the other side. So I've moved the unit round now. So this now it lifts up at the back and then slides out towards the back to release those two claws which are at the bottom and the front here. There we go. And then you've got to sort of gently lever it up. Now don't forget, we've got all these gubbins and cables tied in here. I forgot to loosen these off. So you want to loosen these off and then just flip this whole cassette deck over to the side like this, being careful not to snag any cables. I don't like moving these ribbon cables. So now we've got a good view of all the belts that I changed in the last video. So I'm going to reposition the camera and we'll have a good look at those to see if any of those are twisted or anything. Right, so I haven't powered the unit up, so I've zoomed in a bit on the camera so we can get a good look at those belts. But now what I've realised is I need to actually I want to put a cassette in now. So I've got to eject it. Let's zoom back out again. I've got to put the cassette in the cassette deck and hold it in while I don't know whether that's works or not. So let's press play, see if it makes any grinding noises. No, that's good. Okay, so let me zoom in again. Now we can see the actual mechanism working. Now I'm going to look to one side so I can see what's going on a bit better. Now I haven't got any sound because my audio cables won't stretch to the amp. But I'm looking for anything that looks as if it's wobbling that could be making any noise. Now I think these belts are good quality, but it looks okay. Okay, so what I'm going to do is just rearrange the camera again, because this felt pad here is what I think might be causing some of the problem. So let me rearrange the camera again. Okay, so I'm now the other side. I'm all the way over here somewhere, and you're looking at this from the rear. Now I didn't notice this piece of felt pad. I don't know why it's there, but I suspect it's there to keep the belt away from the circuit board. It would be better if it wasn't there. Now in order to get the belt on underneath there, I needed to open up that felt. I needed to unstick the felt pad and lift it up. And I'm wondering whether it's not stuck back in the right position and therefore it's rubbing too hard on this belt. So I'm going to stop the cassette for a second. I'm going to get my fingernail under that and lift it back up again. And I don't really want to touch it more than I have to, because it will become less sticky. So I don't really want to touch it with my greasy fingers. So I've lifted it up entirely now. Hopefully you can still see it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull it quite tight, and I want to push it as far this way as possible so there's as least friction on that belt as possible. So I've pulled it quite hard there to pull it this way on the belt. Let me get a torch and I'll have a look. Now you might not be able to see it, but I can see a tiny little wear mark on that felt pad and a bit of dust. So I think it might have been there before, but I've pulled that as far across to this way as I can. So this is pushing as little as possible in that direction on this belt. So I'm going to now switch it back on again. And I think that's a design flaw, because this circuit board here, the corner of the circuit board is about a millimetre away from the edge of the belt. And as far as I'm concerned, it would be better if that wasn't there at all. So underneath this felt pad is the rest of this circuit board, and the circuit board rests on a post. So the post comes up underneath the circuit board and the circuit board rests on it, and this pad is just holding that belt very slightly away from the circuit board. Sony, you got it wrong in my opinion. You could have cut this piece of circuit board down so it wasn't quite as long, then this belt wouldn't have to press against anything and cause friction like that. But as far as I can tell, there should be no reason why this wouldn't play with a decent quality. Right, so I've now got this balanced precariously on the edge of my desk so I can hook it up with the rest of the system and get some sound out of it, and I'm just going to have a listen. Going to be annoying sound, sorry. That still sounds pretty bad to me, but I haven't really... That still sounds pretty bad to me, but I haven't really compared this test tone tape on another piece of equipment, which I'll probably do once I've put all this back together. And I might leave a note on the screen to let you know how it sounds. But as far as I can tell, that's all I can do to fix this one. So I might as well put it all back together again. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it together in real time to see how quickly I can do it. But there's chapters down in the description, so you can skip this part for the reassembly and go on to the next part. I'm going to move the camera a little bit out of the way because I need a bit more space. So 3, 2, 1, let's go. Actually, I won't put sound on it, I'll just voice over on it. So I'm going to put this in, it goes in front first. And then the location pins are now in. They wouldn't have been in without this loosened off. So if you don't loosen this bit off and make it a little bit flexible, those location pins don't seem to want to go in. So now what I'm going to do is attach these screws in here again. Don't know how much you can see now. Wrong screw bit. So it's hard to get these screws in. You have to back them off quite a bit to get the thread right on them. Still doesn't feel right. In actual fact, so I'm going to swap these two screws around because I had this problem before that that screw doesn't feel like it wants to go in, and I wonder whether there's a slight difference in the screws. Is it in properly? I think it is. Oh, that might have been why that cable was caught underneath. So let's try it again. No, it just doesn't want to go in there. Maybe it's just if it is screwing in, I don't think I've cross-threaded it. So I'm using this screwdriver to locate the screws in the threads because it's got a magnetic tip on it. The other tip is magnetic but not as strong. And I'm using this screwdriver because it's a bit more, I can get a bit more torque on it. There we go, it's going in nicely now. So with those in, so it locates on the front, that's where the claws are, and then you screw it in the back to keep it in position, and then you can flip it over again without mashing the circuit boards, and then pop in the two screws that go down there. And they hold that tray in properly. So I'll locate it with my iFixit drill bit, sorry, screw bit, and then just tighten them up with a slightly more robust screwdriver. And then finally we're going to put these through three screws here, make sure the fascia's on properly. Well, it's not finally because there's more to do, but there we go. And then finally we're going to, you might not be able to see this, but I'm just going to use this, just reposition that a bit. So there's the eject mechanism. So I'm just going to manually activate that and pull it out a bit. Then I can slide this back on. I need to lift the unit up a little bit. It's important to get this in correctly, so, oh, you can't even see it, hang on 1 second. So there are the two little clips, one there and one there. So they slide on and then clip in, so they go sort of go like this. So it's important to get those positioned correctly in these grooves, otherwise it doesn't go in first time. But you do need to lift this up a little bit to do it, so it's a bit tricky. So these bits here slide in the other side of this groove, likewise on the side there. I think I've got that right. There we go. So you can pull it up tight, those clips go into there, and then we need to put this bit, which is actually metal, just slides on there like that, and then we've got the final 2 screws which go into the 2 screw holes. I'm getting quite good at taking this one apart and putting it back together again, probably because I've done it about 5 times now and it's driving me mental. Okay, so I'm going to rearrange all of this, plug it back in, and then we'll do a speed test. Okay, so I'm going to do a sound test now, but it uses that annoying whistling 3 kHz tone. So if you don't want to hear that, you're going to need to turn your volume down now. Okay, so I'm going to bring the volume up here, so turn your volume down if you don't want to hear that tone. I think it's still got wow and flutter, but it could be that actual cassette tape. Now I'll turn that down in a minute. I've got on the phone I'm using to record this, I've got an app which can sense that tone, and then I can adjust the speed. So I'm just going to install that on my other phone, and then I'll be able to use that to adjust the speed. Okay, slight change of plan. It didn't actually work very well on the other phone, so this is the app we're using. It's called Tuner Pitched, but it only works on one of my phones, and it's designed for tuning guitars and pianos and stuff like that, but it works well enough for what we need to do. So under here there's a screw which you can just about see, which is the speed adjustment. So I'm going to crank up the volume on this annoying tone and adjust that until we get this as close as we can, just a little bit over and just a little bit under the 3 kHz range. So be aware you're going to hear that annoying tone again now. So it's running a bit slow. Now it's running a bit fast. Okay, so I've recorded this as a voiceover. If you look now, you can see that you can hear it as well if you listen to that tone. It's running at the right speed, but the change in pitch is quite a constant frequency. So it'll be low, high, low, high, low, high, low, high. So that's what makes me think something, either the belts or the pinch rollers, is there's some sort of contamination or a dent or something on there, or some sort of defect, which means that speed is no longer consistent, but it's inconsistent, or it varies in a consistent way. Okay, one more thing I can try. I can eject this and flip the tape over. And I'm going to rewind it a bit because we're quite a way through the tape now. And the point of doing that is we've just been testing the speed when it's on side A and running on side A's pinch roller. So what I want to do is see if I can play side B. I've flipped the tape over, but the unit is using the other pinch roller because the tape's going in the other direction, and I'll see whether that makes a difference to the pitch. Okay, so I've got the tape ready now, and I'm gonna play it now. So be aware, I'm going to play that annoying tone in a few seconds. 3, 2, 1. So that's actually running. That's actually running too slow now. So it runs more slowly on side B than it does on side A, and I had noticed that before. but I don't know why that might be the case. So if you know, stick it in the comments. So I'm going to put that sound back up. I probably won't put it back up. Actually, I'm going to put it back up, so mind your ears. You can definitely hear it. It's going dee 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 dee. So something is affecting this. It could be the cassette, I suppose. So what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to get this 3.0 to appear just as often as the 2.9 appears. That means although there's some variability in the tape speed, on average it's running at 3 kilohertz. So that's as much as I can do on this one. I think I've changed the belts with some good quality belts. I've cleaned the capstan and the pinch rollers as best I can. The only other thing I could do possibly is replace the pinch rollers, but I'm not sure whether that's going to make any difference because it's running at the wrong speed backwards, or it's running at an inconsistent speed backwards and forwards, and it uses different pinch rollers for those two directions. So my guess is it could be the tape. So what I'm going to do is put it all back together off camera, you don't need to see that, and slot it back into the system where it's going to be kept. And I'm actually going to listen to cassettes on it, which is what I bought the damn thing for. So I'll record a few cassettes on it as well, but it's going to be many weeks before I can bring you an update on it. If I forget to bring you an update, ask me sometime in mid-October. Just send me a comment, put a comment on this video. Did that thing ever sound okay? And I'll bring you up to date. So thanks very much, and thanks for watching. Bye. Okay, so I'll put that cassette in my Pioneer bookshelf system, and you can see it's playing fast, but it's playing without any wow and flutter. So looks like this cassette deck is not working as it should for some reason, and I don't know why.